You ever try to sit still for 30 seconds and feel like your brain just won't shut the hell up? Like you're checking your phone during a 10-second microwave countdown, or even scrolling Instagram while brushing your teeth. And you reply to an email while someone's literally talking to you. That's not because you lack discipline. It's because we live in a world engineered to hijack your attention. Every scroll, every ping, every dopamine spike, it's designed to pull you out of your life and into a loop of constant stimulation. See, we've normalized being scattered. We've normalized being anxious. We've normalized never being present for our actual life. But your brain, it's begging you to slow down. Not tomorrow, not on vacation, now. And you see, mindfulness, it's not about retreats, yoga mats, or clearing your thoughts. That's surface level. Mindfulness is the act of showing up for your breath, your body, your reactions, your reality. It's about noticing the moment you're in and who you are inside it. Welcome back to Hard Truths, the place where we break through the noise, challenge the way you think, and talk about the things that are really holding you back. So today, we're breaking down what mindfulness really is, why it matters, how to practice it, who's using it at the highest level of life and performance, and why you're leaving power on the table by ignoring it. Let's go. Let's get real. Mindfulness isn't about candles and mantras. It's about attention, specifically reclaiming it. You're not distracted because you're lazy. You're distracted because distraction is profitable. See, every second you're not present, someone else is monetizing your mind. So what is mindfulness really? It's the skill of noticing where your attention is and choosing to bring it back without judgment. So imagine you're eating lunch, scrolling, half watching YouTube, and the food's gone. You didn't taste a bite. Now you want more. See, that's not hunger. It's a loop. Mindfulness is the break in that loop. It's catching the urge to interrupt, to check your phone, to finish someone's sentence. It's saying, wait, I'm here. And you know the truth? Most of us live days, weeks, even years without really being here. See, we hear, but we don't listen. We eat, but we don't taste. We exist, but we don't engage. Mindfulness brings you back. But here's the truth most people never consider. It's not the technique that makes mindfulness hard. It's the vulnerability. Because when you slow down, when you strip away the noise, you're forced to feel, to notice, to sit with yourself. And that is where the real resistance begins. So here's the hard truth. Your brain's default setting is not focus. It's protection. Thousands of years ago, your survival depended on scanning the horizon for danger. Movement meant threat. Novelty meant survival. So fast forward to now, and your brain still craves novelty. Only now, the tiger in the bush is a push notification. This evolutionary wiring is known as the salience network, the system in your brain that constantly scans for what's important. But in the modern world, it gets hijacked by every click, ding, and red bubble. That's why you can't stop scrolling. That's why you lose track of conversations. See, cognitive psychologist Dr. Gloria Mark found that the average worker switches tasks every 47 seconds, and it takes over 20 minutes to regain full focus. that's not just inefficient, it's psychologically exhausting. And I've talked about this a couple times. Your default mode network, the brain's network associated with self talk, daydreaming, and reflection, also becomes overactive when you're not focused. And it doesn't default to joy, it defaults to worry, rumination, and comparison. So, what does mindfulness do? See, it creates an intentional overdrive. It interrupts the reactivity. It tells your nervous system, I'm not in danger, I'm just distracted. That's not a small shift. That's emotional regulation in real time. And now that we've laid out the psychological why, let's explore what happens when mindfulness becomes a consistent part of your life. What actually changes in your brain and why it changes everything. So let's take a look at what's happening inside the brain when you start practicing mindfulness. An 8-week study by Dr. Sarah Lazar at Harvard showed increased gray matter in the hippocampus, linked to memory and emotional regulation, and a reduction in amygdala activity, meaning less stress, less fear-driven reaction. This wasn't years of meditating. It was 27 minutes a day for 8 weeks. See, other studies confirm prefrontal cortex activity goes up. This part of your brain is in charge of focus, awareness, long-term thinking. Other studies also confirm that insula activation increases. And this is a part of the brain that is in charge of body awareness and empathy. See, mindfulness literally rewires your brain to be less reactive, more grounded, and more in control of your responses. You're not just calmer, you're clearer. That's why athletes, Navy SEALs, therapists, CEOs, people under constant stress train mindfulness like it's a skill. Because honestly, it is a skill. It's not a feeling, it's a muscle. And most people aren't weak, they're just untrained. But even when people know the science, when they see the proof, they still struggle. Why? Because mindfulness confronts something far deeper. So let's talk about this next. You already know how to breathe. You already know how to sit still. So why does it feel so uncomfortable to just be here? Because stillness forces you to confront what you've been avoiding. See, when you stop moving, the noise inside your mind gets louder. The unfinished thoughts, the buried guilt, the ache of not being enough. See, most people say they're too busy to slow down. But in truth, they're afraid of what the silence might say back. This is what mindfulness exposes, not just external distraction, but internal disconnection. It brings your inner world to the surface, and for a lot of people, that feels threatening. But here's the flip side. When you stop running from discomfort, you start reclaiming power. Mindfulness doesn't eliminate pain. It gives you a relationship with it. That's why most people resist it. Not because it's hard to do, but because it's hard to feel. And yet, every great transformation begins with awareness. So how do you bring that awareness into real life? How do you stay mindful in a world that wants your attention 24/7? Let's talk about how to actually practice this without quitting your job and moving into a monastery. Let's get practical, okay? Mindfulness isn't something you schedule. It's something you sprinkle. You don't need an hour-long meditation. You just need 15 seconds of presence when it matters most. Here's what it looks like. In conversation, when someone speaks, I want you to really listen. not to reply. Just hear. Let silence stretch. Let their words land. In motion, I want you to feel your feet on the ground. I want you to feel the steering wheel in your hands, the weight of your phone before you unlock it again. This moment has texture. Notice it. How about when you're triggered? I want you to pause. Name what's happening. Think, I feel tense. I feel judged. I want to defend. Just noticing is already a revolution. And lastly, mindful entry and exit. Before you walk into a room, after you leave a call, I want you to take one breath to close the last moment before opening the next. See, these aren't just hacks. They're identity work. Because every moment you choose to come back to the present, you stop being a puppet of the old patterns. And you start becoming the kind of person who doesn't need chaos to feel alive. Mindfulness isn't a tool to escape your life. It's how you finally start living it. It's how you stop missing your kids growing up right in front of you. It's how you start recognizing the patterns that steal your peace. It's how you finally respond instead of react. So this week, I'm not challenging you to change everything. I'm challenging you to return to your breath, to your body, to this moment. Because the most important thing in your life, they're not in your inbox. They're right here, waiting for you to notice. This is Hard Truths. And today's truth, your life isn't speeding up. You're just not slowing down enough to experience it. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.